So it's been a little over 1 month since the Japanese McDonald's promo card dropped. And there have been a number of developments which have been positive, minus, depending on your outlook and your standpoint. One is that there has been a massive backlash from Japanese mothers in Japan because their children are currently unavailable to buy McDonald's Happy Sets. Now, fast food is fast food and so on and so forth. But McDonald's is an institution, right? Worldwide. So, love it or hate it, if you go there and you take your children and you want to buy a Happy Set and they go there and they bought Happy Sets before and they want to buy a toy and they can't, and you have to explain to them, you can't buy a toy because it was scalped out of existence. And then you ask McDonald's, well, what's going on? And they say, we're going to cancel mobile orders because that is where the problem was. But then mothers are saying in Japan, I make a mobile order because I can then wait outside of the shop with my kids. And then when it says my mobile order is ready, I can just walk in the shop and pick it up. But if I'm with my kids with a buggy or a bike, with two kid seats on the front and the back, I can't leave that outside and go in and order and then wait for my order and not know when it's going to be delivered. So I have to be in and leave my kids outside. So it's really super irritating and inconvenient for me. So yeah, it's because other people are, abusing the system. So why can't you make it that if you order by mobile for a kids meal, you have to have kids with you to pick up the order? Is what's in the media right now in Japan. And point two is that there was the black label Beckett graded card that sold for $21,000. And in a matter of, I'm in Japan, so I'm a little bit in front of you guys if we're looking at Europe or America. In a matter of a day and a half, the raw cards have gone up about 40 to 60%, and the sealed packs have gone up 100% on Japanese retail price. So we're looking at about 11,000 yen for a sealed pack, and for a Pikachu single promo card in mint condition or, no issues condition, raw card, is around about 7,500 to 8,000 yen. There are still exceptions in Japan where you can find it for 4,500, something like that. The news hasn't filtered through quite yet, but generally the prices are moving up. If you imagine this is a million card, or I would say it was going to run for 3 days, but they crashed it out. So let's say it stopped early and it was going to be a 3 million card. Let's say it's a 1.5 million card. That sounds super crazy, right? However, go back on this YouTube channel and look at Red's Pikachu. Now, Red's Pikachu, you can go back to Twice Baked Jake, who's on YouTube and Instagram, and I really do love his content. But if you go back to one of his very, very old videos, he talked about Red's Pikachu would never be or would never have value because it was so many millions of them. However, a raw copy right now is selling for about $250. And in a PSA 10, it's I'm not sure exactly. This is coming off the top of my head, but I do know it's about $500 for a PSA 10 Red's Pikachu. So that was about 4.5 years back. Now, this McDonald's Pikachu has got 1.5 million copies. It's not nowhere near Red's Pikachu. And it's, granted, it is a matte copy and it's not hollow. However, with the controversy, with the likes of it, it will get graded a lot. And it looks to be going to be graded. But if you think about the worldwide demand, if this card does not get pumped out back to China, which recently happens a lot, Japanese exclusive cards do get pumped out to China recently a lot. Therefore, it will lose its kind of aura around it. If that doesn't happen, and there are a few modern Japanese cards which have not gone down that route, like the Sightseer card from Tag Team GX Tag Team All Stars. Those kind of cards. There are some cards which are still quite modern, 3 or 4 years, which didn't get sucked into the vacuum of the Chinese market and adding something into their sets as a kind of like a box topper or something like that, as Japanese promos sometimes, quite often do in the US or UK market, where they put them out and put them in a tin as a promo or something like that. There are still Japanese cards that don't get printed outside of Japan. Now, if this Pikachu card from McDonald's is the same, 1.5 million copies is not a lot. If you think about the hobby right now, it's not a great. I mean, if it grades PSA 10, like 94%, like everyone's saying, and everybody submits, then okay, yeah, sure. The price is going to come down, but it's going to be like good. And then like 4 or 5 years later, there's no more supply and they're not printing it or pushing it into other markets. By default, that card is going to go up. And when it goes up, the PSA 10s are going to go up, and Bob's your uncle. You might be talking about in the next downturn, it will see a 30-40% dip. And like I said, no financial advice, but you might see that dip coming down. But, from past experience, looking at cards like Red's Pikachu and looking at cards like the illustration Charizard, which was non-holo, which did go up to about 3,000 yen, but recently, the peak, right? And then it dropped down, and it was going for around about, we're talking Japanese prices, I don't know about outside of Japan, but raw Japanese prices, 3,000 yen, and it would drop down to around about 900 yen, 600 yen, 900 yen, and then it's creeped up and creeped up and creeped up and creeped up and creeped up, and we're back where we were when it was at the peak. And then give it another 2 years, and it's going to be doing quite well. And there were millions of those. I know people had 2,500 copies. I have 90, right? I bought boxes, and I can't remember what it was, every 6 packs you bought, you got one copy. And then that was the time when you can walk into the Pokemon Center and say, I want 7 boxes of this. And hence, I could get like 80 cards or whatever it was, right? I'll just sit on that. But that's a sidetrack. That's a different reel or a different video for YouTube or Instagram. And the third point is, how will this affect McDonald's promos moving forward? It's a really interesting. Obviously, we've seen some kind of like back and forth about mobile orders, if they will be allowed for children's orders and so on and so forth. It looks like they're not going to be. It's going to have to be in-person buying. And they haven't said if you have to have like a child with you to get a happy set, or if it's restricted to just, 3 or 5 happy sets per person. This is still a bit hazy. But the interesting thing was the last promotion for Pokemon at McDonald's was 10 years prior. And then all of this craziness has taken place over these 10 years. They never took this on at McDonald's, from what I can see. This is my opinion, right? If anyone has any other information, let me know. But for 10 years, they didn't take this back on at McDonald's. And then they took this on recently, in the last 5 weeks or so at McDonald's. And we saw what happened. Now, for 10 years, they stayed away from McDonald's promo cards. McDonald's toys, every year, every summer, McDonald's toys, boom, 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 McDonald's burger or McDonald's sticker or something like that, but mainly toys, were available. However, they stayed away from the cards. Now, with this situation, do you think they're going to come revisit this anytime soon? I don't think so. But the interesting thing was, just after this promotion, there was a promotion which was set in place, which was a one-piece promo giveaway, like Burger King did in Japan for One Piece, a One Piece Burger King giveaway. There was going to be a McDonald's One Piece promo giveaway. And this is my opinion, but they were so far along that road of promoting it, the date for it, the card artwork and everything. Everything was printed, in my opinion, and they cancelled it. Now, the interesting thing is, will they bring that back? And if they do, then I feel that they have confidence in their systems, in their distribution of the cards, and the feedback from the public to reissue cards in Japan through the Happy Set system. However, if they don't, and it's only toys, all bets are off. It could be years before we see another promo card at McDonald's. But, you know, we've had Dragon Ball, we've had everything, right? But it could affect everything. So it's going to be a really interesting situation, and it's going to unfold. And everything in this video is my opinions and my observations, but based on actual events and actual reports in newspapers, and obviously my interpretation of that as well. So thank you so much for watching. And if anyone has any questions, or if anyone wants to follow me on my Instagram channel, it's just super easy to do. It's Han, HANN _ JA55. Or if anyone has any comments or any questions, just let me know, and I'm super happy to help or support anyone. If anyone wants to do any collaborations or anything like that, just let me know. Instagram or YouTube, happy to help and happy to answer any questions here in Japan as well. Or if you want to meet up in Japan, just let me know. So thank you very much, and bye from Tokyo.